Welcome to Soulful Conversations with Nadjejda. Hi, I'm Nadjejda Chapoteau. I am the host of Soulful Conversations with Nadjejda. This song is called Qui Est. It's by fellow Haitian. It's a Haitian artist, J. Perry. I am Haitian American. My name is Nadjejda Chapoteau. I love to dance, as you could see. I'm so thankful. Thank you, J. Perry, for allowing me to use your music. So because I love to dance, so I wanted some music for my podcast. Aside from dance, I'm passionate about nature, social justice, empowering people, specifically making a difference, empowering people, specifically empowering people in my homeland, Haiti. And also I'm very much passionate about empowering women and experiencing freedom, being their authentic self, and doing work they love, so they can make an impact in the world. I'm a firm believer that the best way for us to truly make the impact that we were born to make, in order to be our best selves, the person that we were born to be, is you have to be your authentic self. You have to get to know who is that person and really experience freedom, allowing you to do so, and to do work that lights you up and that allows you to show up as who you are. This is why for me, I really am thankful for what I do, and I'm like doing everything in my power to really put myself out there and do what I need to do. And even when I fail, I get back up and do it again, because for me, doing work that allows me to be me is something that is so important. I am a self-love educator, transformation and leadership strategist, a certified professional coach. I am a spiritual teacher, speaker, author. I'm a clean eating enthusiast. So in 2014, actually it's gonna be about a year next month. I put out, I guess in about 2 weeks or so, I self-published a clean eating book where I talk about, it's called Love Light Recipes. It's on Amazon. It's an ebook. I actually I just got an idea to celebrate the 4th-year anniversary of it. I decided to write about my clean eating story, shared some tips and inspiration and affirmations, wellness affirmations, and I also shared some recipes. So professionally, what I do is I help ambitious and purpose-driven women and men as well. But although I tend to resonate more with women. Women have worked with me a lot more. I've only worked with men in group setting when I did 2 workshops for an organization in DC. I used to live in Washington, DC. And I loved it. I have to say, I love working with men, and I'd love to work with men again. And so I help women embrace their authentic self, get to know who they are, love themselves with all their darkness and the light in them, which is one of the things I'm going to be talking about today, sort of. And also, like, really experiencing that freedom to be your authentic self as you're following your dreams, as you're gaining clarity on your purpose, gaining clarity on your mission and vision, in order for them to step up as the leaders that they know they are, and they can make the impact and lead in whichever area of their lives that they want to lead. So I wanted to talk about something. So this is something that I'm going to get pretty personal. It's something that I've wanted to talk about. When I took I think it was like about a month sabbatical away from, probably about 2 months from my podcast, I wrote it down as one of the topics that I wanted to talk about. And today I was inspired to record this. Well, by the time you hear it, it won't be the same day, but basically I said that's going to be my next episode. Just want to make sure, I think I did say last week, that I was going to have my or maybe I didn't put it in the video, but basically this is what I decided. So I can give myself some breathing room, and I know what works for me, what doesn't work for me. Sharing an episode every week or every 2 weeks for the whole year, nonstop, is not something that works for me. So what I decided to do is I'm gonna have them in seasons. I do have to be honest and say I haven't figured out how many seasons I'm gonna have, because basically it's gonna be in seasons for the year. So it might be, I might have 4 seasons for the year, or I might have 3. I have to figure it out, that, and that's something I need to put on my to-do list. But basically what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be sharing it. The seasons are gonna have 8 episodes, 8 weekly episodes. For when Soulful Conversations is on, it's gonna have 8 weeks. I mean, at 8 episodes, so one each week for one season, and then that's what I need to figure out. Do I want to take a month? Do I want to take 2 months break or something? And then when I come back with another season of 8 other episodes, that part I need to figure out. Like I said, I was being really honest. Like, I chose this platform to really share my journey, and really saying right now I'm in a transition where I'm redesigning my business. I'm making many changes. So I'm like gaining some clarity and making some decisions and choices as I'm going along. So bear with me, but basically it's gonna be 8 episodes per season, and I'll let you know how many seasons soon. So I had written down that I wanted to talk about that. So it's something that I'm going to share it from a personal perspective, and I really want you to think about it for yourself, especially, it could be in any area of your life. So a few years ago, I used to be, like I shared in my podcast, I used to be kind of shy in a way, or I just really wouldn't really share a whole lot. But at some point, I started sharing more. And of course, I was more vocal in the beginning. Like I shared, I was a lot more vocal, especially on social media, around politics. Like, for example, I think like my first social media platform was like MySpace. And I didn't really get it. I think I just posted a few pictures or something. And I resisted getting on Facebook. But then in 2008, because I've always been like, 2000, I think it was 2004, I volunteered with Move On. I would volunteer for political campaigns. I'm pretty much, when I care about something, many times I will, but like I said, I have to be in the mood for it. So I was very excited about President Obama's, then Senator Obama's candidacy when he ran for president the first time. I remember watching Oprah, him on Oprah, and I remember I was really impressed with him and his wife. And I don't know if I was before or after the 2004 convention, Democratic convention speech that he had given. I can't recall, but I remember saying then that, and I know Oprah said it too, like, if you run, I'm gonna put my money behind you. I'll back you up. And I remember thinking to myself that if this guy, this senator at the time, chooses to run for president, he has my support. So the moment he said, I'm running, I was like, hey, I'm right there. So either way, so I was very involved. Not only did I donate money to his campaign, but I was also volunteering, and that's when I joined Facebook. So really, I joined Facebook to get people while people love, support him, and to get people to come and volunteer with me. I've also gotten people, I shared about during the Haiti earthquake, getting people to come and join me, and a group of friends that I knew that had put this project together to volunteer for the Haiti earthquake. So either way, but what I'm saying is that it wasn't until probably like 2012 or something that I started sharing more about my journey of like transformation and being love and light and positive and all of that. And I have to say that the fact that I've done that, a lot of people look at me like this, and that's totally fine. But I think it's that what I want to talk about today is how many of us, we're putting ourselves out there, including myself, and I want to speak for myself. When I put myself out there and I talk about my transformation, when I talk about being love and light, I also sometimes I have to say that I get the impression from people's comments that I've had that people expect me to be perfect. Or let's say if, I remember, I remember when I came back to Miami in 2015, because I left Miami in sometime like late summer 2010. And I went back to, and I was in DC, spent almost 5 years, and I came back right before 2015, right before the end of the year. And I remember, like, I was at a gathering at my brother's, and I was at the door because it was a tasting, and I don't remember what. I think I was talking to somebody, and I said something, and she was like, "Oh well, this is where you need to put your love and light." And again, it's not that I'm taking things personally, but it's just that I just noticed that when you put yourself out there and when you're really sharing about your journey and transforming yourself and being positive and everything, sometimes there are people, they have these little jabs that they kind of like when they see you, and for them, you're not showing up as that, or kind of like, and I remember when that person said that, I was like, okay, you know, I didn't really like it, because I felt like, there's a way that it could have been said. So, and I've had people make comments, like, for example, because like I shared, I'm a clean eating enthusiast. I have to say, I've fallen off the wagon many times, especially being back in Miami. I mean, I love my parents, not to say anything about my family and relatives, it's just that they don't eat the way I eat. So being back home, when they do visit, or when I go out, I have more access to the stuff that is unhealthy, especially like if I go to somebody's dinner or birthday or so. So, I remember, like, not that long ago, I went to brunch. They invited me to this brunch, and it wasn't the first time that, because here's the thing, and I've always said that I'm not like, I actually always like, I'm moderation. Like, it's not like I eat clean 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year. Um, and people would be like, "Oh, wow, you eat that?" Or, "Oh, let me take a picture," like as if I'm hiding, like as if, I'm hiding that I eat this, or that and, or, "Oh, I'm watching you," like comments like that. Sometimes I know it's made as a joke, but I also feel that sometimes that people tend to, because you share yourself being a certain way, and it's not like, again, I'm like hiding certain parts about myself, but they tend to highlight. And I remember I made a really big mistake sometime, last year. And I remember, like, when I had to deal with people, knowing people who were affected by the mistake I made, I remember somebody, a family member, said to me, "Oh, if only people, your prospective clients could see or find this out about you." And actually, I've heard that a few times from people in my life. And for me, the interesting is that these people, they're not out there putting themselves out there the way I put myself out there. They're not out there sharing themselves. And when I say, like, sharing failures, sharing upset, sharing, yes, the transformation, sharing the success. And I just think that it's so, when people, and I think that's why so many people, sometimes we tend to shy away, we tend to not put ourselves out there or really share ourselves, because we know that some people are going to have something to say about it. And for me, I have to say, some of these things have hurt me more than others. but I've chosen to like really just don't let it allow, don't let it get to me. But I wanted to address this today because if, and even for myself, I think about it, when, I'm being mindful. I never say that I have never done that, but I'm like, that's one of the things for me specifically this year has been a lot of, I've always known and I've always tried to practice don't do unto others what you wouldn't want them to do unto you. But this year it's been even more because I've been really looking and seeing how people have interacted with me in the ways that have felt, the ways that have felt good and the ways that have not felt that, that didn't feel good and the ways that were hurtful. And I've really been looking at, am I doing the same, and really making it conscious and being mindful that I'm not doing that. And when I find myself doing it, to apologize for it. Because here's the thing, none of us are perfect. I'm not perfect. I often, like I said last week, I have a bad temper. I have a bad temper that shows up. And I think that, and that's another thing, the whole thing with social media. How many people post their failures on social media? How many people will go and say, you know what, my partner and I, my husband and I, my boyfriend and I, my sister and I just had this huge blow up, so, and the thing is that people see certain things as much as, even for someone like me who tries to be authentic, because that's another thing. When you're being like positive or something, and you're sharing success or whatever, you're getting something. But then when you're also like, I've experienced that. Like I remember I did a pretty raw and vulnerable, I think it was a live, or I posted the video. I don't remember if at the time I was doing Facebook Live, but basically where I shared about was having a tough day, and how I think I may even said that I was crying earlier in the day, and that, I knew that I was reminded when I saw a rainbow, the thing that Maya Angelou says, that God has already put a rainbow in your cloud, and to be a rainbow in somebody else's cloud. And I remember, like, when I'm being vulnerable, I remember like a few days later, I showed up somewhere and this guy made a comment, like, "Oh, are you okay now?" But kind of like not really coming from a like really caring place, but almost as if like, oh well, kind of like, well, I see you were talking about this, or putting out your laundry, your dirty laundry out there, So that is the thing, is that, I am really being mindful of that, but I'm not allowing it to stop me. And I'm telling you, for you, if you've experienced this just like I have, don't allow it to stop you. And if you're doing it, like really think about how you are affecting people. So I want to give two examples of like, the other day I saw something on social media, of a Facebook friend shared it, and I loved it. Let me see if I could find it actually. Although what the person wrote was like very powerful with the image, but I thought it was so powerful, and that's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about today. Is it says that basically matches what I'm talking about. Many people think that being spiritual means being positive, but being spiritual means being conscious and aware. To become conscious is a much different thing than to become positive. To become conscious and aware, you must become authentic. Authenticity includes both positive and negative. And I have to say, when I first started, like the more I'm developing into my spiritual practice, the more I really experience that this whole positivity thing, it can be overrated, it can be overdone and overplayed, and it's very much spiritual bypassing many times, because being authentic can also be negative. Now, I'm very cautious saying that, because I don't want people to think, because I was even thinking it for myself, that because I'm all about being authentic. I also do believe, and I remember, I'm going to give a great example. Somebody told me once that, Donald Trump is authentic. Well, I'm not a fan of Donald Trump. I'm not gonna, I don't know if I've ever shared that here, but um, although it's not like I don't like hate him and I don't think about him every day. Actually, I try to many times I try to just avoid most of these things. I'm not on Twitter watching him, but basically, I don't. For me, I think that authenticity has both positive and negative. And I'm not saying that Donald Trump is negative, but I just think that when you constantly speaking your mind and you're coming from a place of hate, when you're coming from a place of pain and hurt, I don't call that being authentic at some point. Like for me, it just goes way off. I think there's an issue there. You know, but the thing is because I truly believe that authenticity has both of it. So let me give you an example of something that happened with me recently. It was probably, I don't know if it was maybe 2 months ago or a month ago. So I was on a text message. Well, basically my sister, I'm going to be very blunt. My sister text me and a friend. So it was a group text about this video. And the topic that it was on, like, it's a triggering topic for me. And I was like, you know what? Don't send this to me. I don't want to have anything to do with that. And then she was kind of like, in a way, I felt like she was kind of like nagging or getting at me, like not really respecting my boundaries. And I told her the F word. Like I actually went, and for me, it's not like something I use all the time. That's not something that's kind of like out of character for me. But I said it. And they were all surprised. Like they were like, my sister's like, oh my God, like really? And then I was really pissed. Like I was really pissed. And after, I think I even like, cause they kept going and I was just like, okay. And for some reason, I think I messaged, apparently you can't get out, something like that. Cause I was trying to get out of the conversation. I couldn't leave. I didn't have that option. So I actually just went ahead and I blocked both of them for a little bit just so I didn't have to get it, because I think I was on my phone, so I could put the phone away, and I didn't really want to, because I really felt like I was being triggered and I was upset. And then I was like, okay, you know what? It's out of character for me. Yes, I was actually being my authentic self when I said it, because I'm, like I said, this is the negative side of me being authentic, but I'm being authentic. This is me being real. Um, and I also know that this is also not how I want to show up in the world. I could have handled it differently. I could have maybe taken a step back, not answered, could have blocked it before, whatever, and then later on come back if I have something to say, but coming from a different place. So what I did was, I don't remember the exact words, but I basically said, okay, I apologize for handling it this way because handling it this way because I know I could have handled it differently. But I also have to say that, I said and, I don't like to use the word but, because when you say but, we basically negate or like forget what I said before. And being honest, like I was being my authentic self. So that is the thing, sometimes we have to tell people to fuck off, or we have to kind of like, we say it and we're being really our authentic self. And then we could always apologize if we need to. And the thing is that for me, my apology was not really for using that word because I was being my authentic self. My apology was that, okay, I know I could have handled it differently. So that is the thing that, being positive. So somebody could have been like, oh my God, wait till one of your prospective clients or one of your clients or all these people that you talk to on social media, all these people who see you as the spiritual teacher, who meditates, who's like sending love and light, so that I'm being, okay, well, that's why I am actually choosing, because I've always been, I want to say I've always been like, at some point I choose to be more and more authentic in my life. And what I'm noticing is that right now, I'm really getting that being spiritual doesn't mean being positive all the time. It doesn't mean, it actually involves being aware. And authenticity involves both positive and negative. So now, let me give you an example. I'm going to go there. I have my views about what happened with, like my thoughts on Serena Williams' behavior on the tennis court the other day. Um, I am not for misogynoir. I'm not for misogyny. I completely disagree with that. The thing is, and I guess, yes, that was her being authentic. The thing is that, like for me, and I'm not saying that I want her or anybody else to act like me. I just think that if we're really doing work to develop ourselves, we need to be able to step back and see, okay, where did I thought that was very disrespectful of Naomi, of whoever you're playing with, of the audience, and even the guy, because here's the thing, even if he's not, the umpire did not, he was being a certain way, because there are ways to handle things in life. And I do agree. And for me, I actually think that they all need anger management. When people are showing videos of, I don't know their name because I'm not big on tennis, but other white players, white male, who have done that and worse, I think it's all wrong. And I think we do need to do something about all of it. I just don't think that the whole thing of like saying, well, I can do it, or, well, what's the big deal because he does it. Yes, I do agree that they all need to be penalized. It wouldn't be fair for her to be penalized and for them to not. I'm totally for that. What I'm thinking is that for myself, I don't know her personally, but I just thought that the next day that everybody, many people were calling her queen and goat and how she handled herself. Yes, I think she handled herself well after hugging Naomi and later on, but in the court, I don't think there was anything to be applauded. And I think that we are not supposed to be applauding people's behavior. We don't need to actually come out and say, oh my God, like, because there's a way to go about it. And this is where I'm going there right now. So I actually think that, I hope when she sat and really talk about it, I don't know what type of work she does with it herself, but I think there needed to be an apology for that type of behavior. And I guess for those men as well. Not even I guess, yes, because it's not normal behavior. I think, and so I'm going to give an example of, I hope some people in her life basically told her something too. So, like I said, I have a bad temper. I know that about me. So a few weeks ago, my mom was in town and she had gone out and I was home alone, and I called my cable company and I was really upset with the plan they had put me on. I wanted to get off of it. I wanted to be on my other, like, and I was like, I went off. And my mom walked in as I was going off on them. She didn't say anything on, while I was on the phone. And then after that, she was like, who are you talking to? Like, and I said, hey, they're right. She was like, basically, I was saying they're wrong, I'm right. And she reminded me from a place, not from a place of like, because here's the thing, there's a way to tell somebody. And that is the thing. And then when I'm saying that, if somebody makes a comment about me, there's a way to tell somebody about their behavior and about correcting it or about not doing it again. That doesn't come from a place where you're actually making them feel that they're supposed to be perfect or you're shaming them or something. So she said to me, I get you, Nadjejda, but I don't know. Well, she said it in Creole, but I hate to use the word should, but basically she said, you should not be, you don't need, like, it's not normal. It's not okay to be screaming at anybody, whether you're right or wrong, whether they're right or wrong. And the thing is that I have to say that that is one of the things I am aware when I'm being like this. Like there was a time in my life where I was not aware when I was being like, like I was being like, now most times I am. I stop myself at times, sometimes I don't. I apologize if when I need to, when I'm able to, like if the person is around or something, or I know next time I try my best to not lose it. But what I'm saying is that there is a way to go about letting people know. And like, for example, the way my mom said it, she reminded me, and I know that, and she reminded me of it. Or she's even told me before, remember, you talk about being love and light. Like that's different than telling somebody, oh, all that stuff you keep talking about, maybe you need to apply it right now. Or, oh my God, I wish people would see you in this moment, or whichever. There's a way to go about it. And I'm sharing that with you for you to know that it's okay that you're not perfect. It's okay to embrace, like, I know for me, I'm not perfect. I know I will never be. That doesn't mean that I'm going to be like, oh, well, that's just the way I am. Because that's who I was more over 10, 15 years ago. That's who I was back then, and probably even longer than that. But I'm no longer that person. I'm aware of it. And what I'm asking you is to embrace the positive and the negative side of your authenticity, to make amends when you need to make amends, um, to accept yourself and embrace yourself fully, to be aware when you're not being who you know you are. And like I said, do something about it. Sometimes it'll be next time. Don't beat yourself up. Don't stop yourself from showing up and sharing your transformation, sharing your greatness, sharing your life, because some people will have something to say about it. And when you're not showing up as that, or will make a comment about it. And like me, let's also really become aware and be mindful. How are we showing up for other people? How are we, when people are not showing up in their best life, how are we addressing it with them? Are we shaming them? Or are we actually reminding them of who they are and getting them there, and helping them get there? And also not letting them beat themselves up. Because here's the thing, and I remember like when I made that mistake, and that family member told me about, oh, and I remember like this is the person that was using that against me for a long time, for like over and over. When I say a long time, so it's only been about it. And one time I said to her, I said, how do you think I feel about that mistake? It's something that I completely, like, I regret. It's something I wish I had not done. Because here's the thing I want you to know is that most of us know when we've made a mistake. Most of us know when we're really not showing up in our best life. And we are actually judging ourselves. We're criticizing, we're being really harsh with ourselves. And when somebody else goes there, what it does is it makes it even worse. It takes us longer to forgive ourselves, to move on, to make the amends. Because what happens when you feel like you're being attacked, what you want to do is you want to attack back, usually, for the most part. Often, yeah, sometimes I'm aware, okay, this is about them, this is not about me, or whatever. Because that's another thing. Really think about it. That's one of the things I've come to realize in my life, is that the people who judge me the most, or who are my harshest like critics, I realize that it's because they're very harsh on themselves. They're very hard on themselves. They criticize themselves, so they cannot really. That's how they respond, because that's how we are. Like, because usually many times it's not even about us. It's about them. It's something about them, that they are like dealing with something. They're judging themselves over something. So then instead of dealing with their own stuff, and I'm not saying for them to stay in their own judgment, But instead of actually doing the work to release it and to heal it, they turn it around and like put it on somebody else, because it is easier to look at somebody else's stuff than to look at yourself in the mirror. So that's really what I wanted to share with you all today. I am gonna wrap this up. I'd love to hear from you regarding, tell me what you got from this. If you enjoyed it, share it with a friend. Maybe you know somebody who is an entrepreneur or some type of artist or anybody. Because let me tell you, this is something that anybody can benefit from. I just think that, it's many of us who are like stepping outside of our comfort zone, stepping and really allowing ourselves to be seen. Yes, sometimes we do get the, because hey, if people don't know anything about you, they can't really use anything about you. Although I know people sometimes they'll find something to say or do, But I'd love to hear what came up for you. Wanted to share a little bit more about me and some of my thoughts on this with you. And if you want more, if you really enjoyed this and you're listening to me on Apple Podcasts, on iTunes, um, subscribe so you'll know when the next episode is ready. Like I said, this is episode 4 of this season. So we have 4 more to go, so 4 more weeks. And then actually, maybe I might just take a break and come back next year. I don't know. We'll see. For those of you who are new, I have interviewed people in the past, and I am going to come back with those episodes. I think probably the next 4 will still be me. So this season will be me, yours truly, Nadjejda. Subscribe. Please rate this podcast. I'd love for you to rate it. Let us know. I've also found out the more ratings I get, the more people will know about this podcast and they can check it out. So rate, leave me a feedback. I'd love to hear from you. If you want to know more about me, visit my website, Love Like Coaching. Subscribe to my email list so you can get more inspiration from me. I have a monthly newsletter, and like I said, these weekly episodes. And then for those of you who are watching me on YouTube, subscribe to my channel so you know when the next episode or when I add a new video. Because sometimes I randomly add a video that I recorded either in the past, or I recorded just I wanted to share something, and I'll go ahead and share it on YouTube. I'd love to also hear from you. Put your comments below the video. Same thing, if you want more from me, visit my website, www.lovelikecoaching.com. Subscribe to my email list to get my monthly newsletter in addition to these episodes. And also, if you're watching me on my website, I'd love for you to leave me a comment as well. Let me know what came up for you. Same thing, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. So that's what I leave you with today, is to be gentle with yourself and to remind you that being authentic, which I'm all about, is not being positive only. It involves both positive and negative. It's a matter of you being aware of that, and I hope you will choose to make amends when you're being negative, and accept it that is a part of you, that is who you are. Embrace your darkness just as much as you embrace your light. So until next time, I am sending you love and light, and I'm gonna end this with Jay Perry. This song is called Qui es-tu, which means who are you, which it says it means who are you in English, and he says the response is I am Haitian, Haïtien. That is Jay Perry again. Thank you all. Thank you again, Jay Perry. Love and light.